Are you someone who believes it's possible to make a real impact? My next guest in my Entrepreneurs Who Work From Home series is Celine Egan, and she is doing exactly that. As the CEO of Juice Plus in Australia and New Zealand, she's leading with purpose, passion, and a heart for service. I'm Gale Bates, and welcome to my series where I'm interviewing entrepreneurs from around the world who make a difference in others' lives. You know, with over 20 years of experience as a home-based entrepreneur myself, I understand the challenges of staying organized and managing my time to avoid that dreaded overwhelm, right? And I'm really fascinated by every entrepreneur I interview because they're sharing their unique story, and it's just full of insights on how they manage their productivity and how they keep a balanced life as an entrepreneur. So if you're ready to learn from those who actually make it happen, then I'd love you to hit that subscribe button and tap the bell to never miss an interview. So Celine Egan, she's one of those rare people you never want to lose touch with. Our connection actually goes back years, and it's the kind of friendship where you just pick up right where you left off, like no time has passed. And her story just begins as a young mother simply looking for a little extra income. But what she discovered was far greater than just financial opportunity. She didn't want to return to the corporate world. So within just a year of committing fully to her direct sales business, Celine had replaced her full-time income, and you'll learn about that and how she did it. And now she leads 2 countries as a CEO. That's what I call humble beginnings with extraordinary outcomes. So in this conversation, you're going to learn so much from Celine's wisdom. You're going to learn why she blocks out strategic planning time in her diary. That's what they call it down under. How she's intentional with her energy and focus. And her big 3 RGAs that I talk about a lot: reach outs, invitations, follow-ups. You know, these are just simple, consistent actions that really are the magic behind growing a successful direct sales business. And I love the way she talks about building your consistency muscle and her smart, simple approach to reverse engineering any goal. You don't want to miss all of this advice because there is so much wisdom here. Let's just dive in. So wonderful to catch up with you again, and welcome to my Entrepreneurs Who Work From Home series. I'm so excited to be here. All the way from Australia. We had so much fun in Australia years ago when I was down there working alongside of you as well.
Yeah, no, it's been a blessing. I was trying to think how long we've known one another now, and it's over 15 years.
It's a long time.
Yeah, I know. I was trying to, piece together kind of thing how long. So I'm absolutely thrilled to be here to, add any impact I can and share.
Well, and it's exciting because I've watched your transformation as well, which has really been fun to see. So we can get into that as well. You know, I know your company, Juice Plus, is a health-conscious company. So let's talk about daily routine. You know, what does that look like for you as the CEO?
Yeah, right. Well, look, I'm a morning person, so I love to be up early. So generally, I'm up and out the door by about 5 o'clock. I'll get out and I'll just go and do a walk. I love to be able to just really center myself, have some time. Yeah, do my Bible reading and all those kinds of things, sit by the ocean and just take some time in. It settles me. It really does. It makes me, no matter what my day is going to look like, it just kind of grounds me into that space. So I do think, and I know that it's not always, I think back to, when I had little children and all that, it wasn't able to, but it was about just being able to grab, even if it was 5 or 10 minutes, that was just about centering myself. So that's something that I really do love to do. And because I am a morning person, I'm up, I'm at it. I make sure then that, generally I'm also about simplicity. So my morning starts pretty much the same. It's a coffee, it's a smoothie, and it's my Juice Plus capsules. So it's kind of like, I know once I've done, so that if the rest of the day goes to mess, it doesn't matter. I've actually started off really, really well. And then I'm at my desk. Generally, it was a little bit earlier this morning, but generally by 7:30, I'm at my desk and I'm ready to go for the day.
Yeah, that's great. And as your day moves, do you prioritize tasks? Do you time block? What does that look like for you?
Yeah. I am a schedule queen. If it's not scheduled, it does not get done. And so I like literally, if I've got to pick up something on the way, it goes into the schedule. And that I don't really believe in to-do lists because I've always looked at them. My to-do list had to go into my schedule anyhow. So I just go straight there. And that way, then I know that it's going to get done. So I do love that. I also love working in time blocks. So I will have throughout, and this is something that I've gotten better at over the years. So I have an app on my phone that actually blocks out all social media, all certain notifications and all the rest that I put on during periods of the day so that when I am in concentrated work, so if I'm doing some strategic thinking block, or if I am in a creative block, or even if I'm in meetings as well, so that I can be present for the person in front of me or present for the work that I need to do. And at home, if I'm with the grandchildren, the phone goes away and the little app goes on so that I'm not then constantly being interrupted. And that has actually made me even more effective than I even was previously. And right from even when I was in the field, when I was a mom at home with kids building a business in the field, I actually worked in 30-minute blocks. That was what I did. I generally felt that I would be able to have the kids occupied for 30 minutes. So I would then go bang, 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 bang. I would do what I needed to do. And then I'd have another 30-minute block or whatever. So I've kind of kept that going even when I shifted then into corporate and built up. And even as a CEO now, I very much work in blocks of time. And I think that's actually really effective.
Right. I love that. I think determining the actual amount of time, especially for those like you have a lot of business partners in Juice Plus in the field, and I'm sure you help them with that as well. And determining that amount of time that you have to work, you can get a lot done. You can even get a lot done in 10 minutes if that's the whole time you have, right?
Absolutely. I mean, again, nowadays, it's probably even easier compared to when I was building in the field. But today, like you could have a 10-minute block. You could lock yourself in the bathroom, have your phone with you, and you have done your reach outs for the day. Like it is that simple. But I think the most important word that I would attach to it, Gale, though, is it's an intentional.
Yes.
Blocking.
Yeah.
So it's really important that you can have all the blocks in your diary and you can do all of that. But if you don't then intentionally do the work that you committed to yourself to do in that time, whether it's 10 minutes, whether it's 30 minutes, whether it is, I have 3 times a week, I have a 2-hour strategic planning blocks in my diary. And I can twiddle my thumbs or scroll, whatever like that for those times if I wanted to. I think it's about being intentional with the time you've got and the actions that you do.
Yes. And, now that I've become an American, I say schedule instead of schedule. Okay. But I think, scheduling things into your diary, into your planner is the key because as we, say, what gets scheduled gets done, right? Exactly. Yes. So I wanted to ask you, as a CEO of a direct selling company, and this is probably a loaded question, but if you could zero it down to something, what kind of tools do you help your business partners in Juice Plus? How do you help them grow their business? Are there specific tools these days that you use?
Yeah. I think, again, we're in very much a digital world now. So I think what's really, really important, of course, is having the learning management systems in place that, educate people around what is the latest and greatest in whatever it might be, whether that's, important, like we're a health and wellness company. So compliance is really important to us as well. What are the things that we can do to be really proactive in sharing our message, but in a compliant way? I think that's so important right across our whole profession, is to be on point, but also to be compliant as well, not making outrageous claims, or whether that's from a product perspective, an income perspective, all of those kinds of things. But yeah, putting different things in place. So for example, our team love working with boards, which again is a really simple tool to be able to share social media posts or things like that. So there's those kinds of things as well. We've got lots of training. We've got lots of opportunities to be able to grow. And then we have regular calls every Monday night. There's a training call where our team come together and they share what's working for them right now in the field. They hear from their peers about what is something that is absolutely working for them. And sometimes also what's not working. Because sometimes that's equally as important. Sometimes we can try and do the same thing over and over again and not get any results and wonder, why? And so sometimes it can be a simple tweak as well. So every stage of the way, we want to create opportunities for people to grow, develop, and learn. And even when I was in the field, I used to say, whether a person came into my team for a short time or a long time, they would leave a better person. And that is because it's about equipping people to actually live a life on purpose for a purpose, to actually get the skill set that they can, that I think is truly amazing in our direct selling profession, the skill set that you get to be able to then equip you for life in general.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, for other entrepreneurs that are listening and today or watching this video, we talk a lot about nowadays revenue generating activities. Okay. It's one of the big things in any business, whatever you do. So how do you help your field, develop those revenue generating activities?
Yeah. I mean, they've not changed. I just think they really haven't. I've been in this profession for nearly 42 years now.
Yeah.
A long time. I started when I was very young, people, just letting you know. It is. And the end of the day, it was about building your connections. So building your network, so you do your reach outs, your invitations, and your follow-ups. It's not. And so it's about what I think it is. Again, it comes back to the intentional world that we're going to talk about earlier on. Intentionally building your networks. Now, whether you're doing that face-to-face or whether you're doing it online now, it doesn't matter. It's equally as important as to what that looks like for you.
Right.
So it's that. But then intentionally inviting people, because again, we can be building our networks and talking about the cat. But if we're not intentionally inviting people to have a closer look at what it is that we're doing, whether that's our products, our programs, or our business opportunities, whatever it might be,
right.
And then intentionally following up and that making sure that we are being professional about what it is that we do. I think that sometimes we can be a little bit scared about being, that professional direct seller and actually doing our job because we think, we're a salesperson. But the reality is we are. And so when we do it right, when we're sharing our opportunities, sharing our product, people sell to themselves because of what we've provided them. But we need to follow up and help them to be able to complete that transaction.
Right. And it's so funny because I just read an article, a direct selling article, actually, and it said, nothing's really changed. The fundamentals are still driving success in direct selling. And they talk about that, the value of your customer, building real relationships, which is really what, in any business, whether you're in the direct selling world or not, building relationships is really important. And one of the things they talked about was sticking to consistency. How does, do you do a lot on helping your field business partners with consistency?
Yeah, consistency is key. In fact, my dear friend, Richard Blissbrook, he was actually just talking about that a little while ago. I had him on with our team. And, it really, again, has not changed. It is, for me, it was my high five every day. So I needed to do my 5 connections every day, my 5 reach outs, my follow-ups, the whole works kind of thing. So it was my high five. So I created for myself, actually, way back when, a grid. It was just called the grid. And it literally is it's as difficult as putting 30 squares on a piece of paper, people. That's it kind of thing. In fact, what I used to go and do was buy up all of the kind of, out-of-date calendars that just in the $2 shop. You probably got them wherever you're listening from. There'll be a $2 shop where you can buy calendars. And it wasn't so much about the dates. It was just about the fact that they happen to have generally 30 squares on a grid. And so for me, I would know if I was being consistent in my business or not is if there was a name in each one of those squares.
Right.
And
Right.
so depending on whether you are somebody who is, you know what, I only have a certain small piece of time. So I'm only going to be able to do one reach out, one invitation, one follow-up a day. That's fine. You're using one square. That's cool. But if I'm somebody who, for me, when I was wanting to build in my business, high five, well, then each day was about 5 squares.
Yeah.
So if I didn't have 5 squares, so a grid for me would probably only do me for a week. So it really depends on where you are. But some way of consistently tracking what you're doing as well, I think is so important. Because again, we can say, I'm doing so much work. I'm reaching out to so many people. Are you?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Really doing it. Exactly.
Yeah. So tracking, and make it super simple, whether that's online, offline, whatever. But for me, I just loved, in fact, I did have them somewhere. I love some of my old grids that it's a piece of paper just didn't lie.
It's what you're describing is a great visual. And I think when you have a visual and you can see any gaps, or you can see your consistency, whatever it is, that, and you're doing the work, and you will get the results, right?
The numbers don't lie. I mean, at the end of the day, whether you are a CEO sitting and you're looking at the numbers of a business as a whole, or whether you're a mom at home wanting to build their direct selling business, the numbers will not lie. They're just the numbers that you're looking at, but the numbers do not lie. They tell you, are you really doing the do? And are you getting the results because of that? And the other thing I loved about, say, something like the grid is that, and this is for anybody who is listening, when you first start doing your reach outs, you're not always going to get the answers that you think. You're not going to get the results. What happens is, if you're consistently doing even one reach out every single day, one reach out, one invitation, and one follow-up every single day, I can guarantee you that over time, you will get better because you get more confident. You understand the questions that are probably going to come up. You have you start to collect the stories that you get to be able to share with people. And you will then start to see that little shift. You just get better at it. But if you do it on a Monday and then don't do anything maybe till Friday, and then you do it on the following Monday, and then one of the kids is sick on Friday, so you can't do it on Friday, and so on and so forth, you don't get the opportunity to build that consistent muscle. It's like working out at the gym. And so you don't get to see the results. But consistently every day, even if it's just one little habit every single day that you work on, you will get the results. And I've seen it. I've got 40 odd years of experience to see, not just for myself and my own business, but in others. So there's definitely social proof there.
I know. I remember when I first started in the field myself, and I was so surprised when people, I would be reaching out and they were interested, and I went, "Oh, you are? Oh my gosh, And because you've got that consistency going on, you will get a lot of no's, but you will get a lot of people who are really very interested as well, right? Yeah. Yeah. So I remember, this is interesting. I just remembered this. Years ago, you came and did a talk at one of the companies I was working at in Australia, and it was on goal setting.
Yeah.
And it was wonderful. Everybody loved it. It was fantastic. So talk to me a little bit about goal setting for you as a CEO, and maybe also as you help your business partners in the field.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a really simple approach to goal setting. I think it's really just thinking about, because at the end of the day, goal setting is really just about putting overalls on your dreams. What is it that you actually want your life to look like? What does it look like? And if I think back, as a mom with 2 children under 2, shift working husband, and family on the other side of the world, my goal, and I was back at work when both of them were only 3 months old. So my goals then, like what I want my life to look like? I wanted my life to look like that I was able to be home more with them than what I was at work. That was it. It was really quite simple around that. That was the choices that I wanted. But to be able to even believe in that, because that was still a reasonably big goal, I needed to come back to something even simpler. And so the first big goal that I actually set for myself was a side-by-side fridge freezer. And I still share this today because it still holds true that I just looked at what that was. I went and got the price for it. I put it up on my old fridge, what it was going to be, the picture of what I was going for, what I would need to create, the income I would need to create, because I wanted to go pay cash for it to be able to do it. And from there, then reverse engineer that to how many parties did I need to hold or how much did I need to sell?
Yeah.
And so it really is about taking, because I mean, a lot of times people talk when they come to what, what's your why and all the rest. And for some people, when they're starting out, that just seems way too big. It just seems way, way, way too big. So it's about reverse engineering down to, okay, well, what do I want? What is it that I would actually like? What would be one small goal that if I was to achieve that, it would build that belief muscle in me? Because then what I found is when I did that, it is still one of the proudest moments of my life that I was able to go in, and I even remember where the shop was. It was in South Australia. I remember going in. I remember handing over the cash for that fridge freezer. And every time I looked at it, it was very posh in those days. We're talking about a lot of years ago, this side-by-side fridge freezer. But every time I looked at it, it made me believe in what was possible. And then from there, 6 months later, I was able to go and resign from my job. I was able to become that full-time mom. And that youngest baby now is a father himself. In fact, both of them, Cara and Shane, who are there, we added a third one later, but both of them are parents themselves now in their 30s. And I look back and it was this side-by-side fridge freezer. So take the goal, break it down though into, don't have it just as this wishy goal and all the rest kind of thing and that. Have it actually that you bring it back down to reverse engineer. What do I need to do? And I still do that exactly the same today, just on a bigger scale. That's all it is. It just got bigger each time. Take the goal and what are the controllables? Bring it back to the controllable actions that you can do. So if I know I needed to hold this many parties or get that many orders or have that, well then what are the actions that would actually get me to? And to be honest though, Gale, it came back then to the fundamentals again, because every single one of those things, whether it's selling a product, hosting an event, bringing on a new business partner, all of those comes back to, am I consistently, intentionally doing my reach out, my invitations and my follow-ups every single day?
It's a great process and it's so simple, yet so powerful. And I love the defining moment you had when you had that, you were able to go and buy that freezer for, with your cash, which must have been a wonderful feeling. And that's what you want when you achieve. You want to have that feeling.
When you embody the feeling then, because I can still feel that.
Right.
30 plus years later, I still get goosebumps.
Exactly.
That, So when I doubt myself, because I have those moments of doubt, or am I good enough, or how did I get here, or, this girl from Dublin kind of thing who came out backpacking all day and now I'm a CEO of this business. And I'm very blessed to serve our industry by sitting as the vice chair of the DSA here for Australia and New Zealand as well. And, so all of those things, I have those pinch me moments. I have those moments of disbelief and, honestly, those shaky things kind of going, what have I got to add? And I actually just come back to, just showing up, just believing like that fridge freezer still kind of goes, I was able to do that. And I was actually then able to show other people how to do that. It might not have been a fridge freezer for them. It might have been a day extra at home. It might have been a holiday they got to go on, but it was still the fridge freezer and that. And so literally it's about, for each of you that are watching, if you're in the field and you're wanting to build a bigger business, it's finding, okay, what's that one defining moment for you? What is that thing that you achieve that you just kind of go, I did that. I did that. And then you take that feeling and what you did and you just teach it to the next person, the next person, and the next person. And a successful business comes from you helping more people achieve their goals.
Exactly. And I love that's actually the direct selling motto, right? You help be successful, you're successful, right? Which is true. Your explanation and description of how that all works is just beautiful. And other entrepreneurs that are watching this will be able to understand how simple it can be. It doesn't have to be complicated, right?
I think we try to overcomplicate things so we can feel more important. And I'm a simple girl. Yeah, I'm a simple girl. I don't like it to be overcomplicated. And I always remind myself, and I think this is a good reminder too for leaders who are maybe down the track and you've maybe built the life that you want and all the rest. Is always put yourself back in your shoes when you started.
Yes.
That's who you're talking to. You're talking to your former self. You're not talking to the person you've become now, because what we are blessed being in direct sales, we are blessed with the personal professional development that we have along the journey. Like this is not just about selling products or business opportunities. It's who we become on the journey, but we've become, so please make sure that when we are thinking and addressing and working with, that we're actually speaking to our former self rather than the person we actually have become today. That's the other thing that I am constantly reminding myself of, that walk in their shoes, put yourself in their shoes right now.
Right. That's a great reminder for sure. And I'm so glad you brought up professional development, because that is one of the questions that I like to ask. And I know that in the direct selling industry, there's a lot of wonderful professional development. But what do you do? What do you do to keep yourself ahead of the game?
Oh my gosh. I'm an avid reader. I read. But I learned as well, one of my gorgeous mentors, my mentor, he's been my coach actually for probably 8 years now, Richard Blissbook, who wrote The 4-Year Career and Mac 2 with Your Hair on Fire. He actually taught me that I need to read a book till I can teach it. So rather than just being a ferocious reader, actually take the time. And so that is actually something that I have really take it on board. And so when I read a book, I generally listen to it at the same time if I can, if it's on Audible or Spotify or one of those, and that too, so that I actually really do get those pieces out of it and look at doing it. So there's that. I have a coach. I have a mentor. I am in a coaching group. I have a spiritual coach. I make sure that I am constantly putting myself in places of discomfort to actually stretch myself. Because, when you put yourself into a peer group that is maybe at that next level to you,
right.
In that, it can be uncomfortable because again, you kind of go, oh, why am I here? Or what am I doing? Or, like there's the whole kind of imposter syndrome.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
That doesn't matter what level you're at or, what age or what your experience is. It's always at play kind of thing. So I put myself into situations where I am constantly being stretched. So in 2 weeks' time, for example, I'm going to be on a retreat with an entourage group, which is all about, that next level leaders. And I am super excited and I am super nervous. Because we'll have masterminds and you're in there, you're under the microscope, and also you're helping other people who are under the microscope. So I think it's really important that no matter what level you're at, if you're brand new and you are somebody who, you don't have the money to be putting into personal development or personal coaches or anything like that, lean into what your company has for you, because every single company has a training program, a mentorship program of some sort. So lean there.
Yeah.
This day and age, books and videos are your best bet. Like you don't want to read, you can listen. There are videos that you watch too as well. But always be asking yourself, just as part of your yearly plan or part of your monthly plan, what it is, what am I doing to grow myself personally as well as professionally? What is it? Because it's the person you become that's the person that attracts the people you're wanting to attract.
I love that. What am I doing to increase my own professional development? Yes, I love that. It's excellent. Excellent advice. You talked a little bit about this retreating with the groups. How, talk to me a little bit about connections and collaborations and teamwork, and how does that all work for you as a CEO?
Yeah. And it's evolved over the years and that too, but no different than probably when I was in the field. I would put myself, I'm an introvert by nature. So it's not that, so it's interesting. I'm an introvert working in an extrovert's world. But there are lots of us and that too. So I reframed networking events or anything like that as friend finding. So I would go to, and a lot of this was offline back in the day when I was building. And I still encourage people to actually do that. It makes you even better online. If you can actually practice going maybe to a networking event or whatever it might be, and friend finding, just getting curious about people. And so I love that. I love being a connector. I love getting curious about somebody and someone else so that maybe I can possibly connect to them. Because what happens is, as you do that, you become a trusted advisor. So if they feel like they want Juice Plus, then they're going to come to me. If they feel like they want your product, they're going to go to you because you're not making it all just about you. In fact, I got some beautiful messages this morning because I've connected some people and it's like there's going to be this beautiful synergy for them. I'm not getting anything out of this at this point in time. But you know what? When the time is right or if they need something, it's me they're going to think.
Yes. But it's those connections and connecting others that really, really work.
Absolutely. So continue to always be building your network. And right now, if you're the school mom, well, then that's at the school gate. Who are you talking to? Who are you getting curious about? Who are you getting to know? Because the more curious you are, you'll know if Jimmy is constantly getting sick or if, Mary's kind of going, oh, I've got to rush off to work again. And it's something else. If you're curious, it's not about throwing your business or your product or at them straight away. It's about getting curious and building networks because then as that trust grows, the next time he says Jimmy's sick and going, you know what? I'd love to share with you what I do to help the kids kind of get through this, these winter bugs. Yeah. But you built the trust. They kind of, oh yeah, sure. Tell me, Celine, what is that? Oh yeah, all right. I'm going to try that. Bang. And so I think, and so right now, even now, from a business perspective as a CEO, it's the same thing. It's building those connections. It's building, those relationships so that I see somebody doing something. I kind of go, oh gosh, I really want to know a little bit more about that. There's a trust there. There's a relationship there. They can go, are you open to sharing with me about how you've approached that situation or how you're using AI in your business now or whatever it might be? And they kind of go, and I've never had anybody knock me back because I've made the effort to be curious and also look at what value I could add in the first instance.
I love that. Yeah. Yeah. It's so important. So important. Which brings me to tech, a little bit of tech tools. How does technology play a role in running your business? I mean, you must be using a lot of tech these days, but what is one of the most popular tech tools that your business partners are using in the field as well?
Yeah, absolutely. There is so much tech, and there's the positive side of it and there's the negative side of it because in some ways it can be a distraction. You can use it. You can kind of fall down the social media hole. You can fall down the ChatGPT hole. There's that. So I think it's been really, again, intentional about what it is that you're using. So boards is something that we're using really effectively and our partners are using really effectively. So you may be using there are lots of different programs like that. There's Penny and there's Nowsite and there's all sorts of different things. But boards is something that we're using really effectively for easy, simple sharing and being able to kind of, have instant access no matter where you are. Most people have got their phone with them. The other thing I think that both our field and us internally here are different forms of ChatGPT. So those AI, agents where you get to be able to do things just so much quicker. It really is like having that assistant in your back pocket.
Yeah.
Now, what I would encourage people to do, and I've actually spent quite a bit of time this year in making sure, again, that I'm putting myself in situations where I'm learning about it as well. Because I was a little bit hands-off, kind of going, oh, I don't know how I feel about all of this and that. And then I realized, actually, it's a little bit, I remember back to when we got the mobile phone.
Oh, we didn't. Yeah.
And we all kind of going, oh, this will never last. But, we're all around with a computer in our pocket. So, so I've actually been really intentional around learning about it as well. So that's what I'm going to encourage you to do as well. Tools are only as useful as what you can do with them. Give them. So ChatGPT or any of the others, are only going to be as useful as how you educate it and the information that you give. And the other thing I have found, things like the prompts that you give it as well to be able to give you the best affirmation. So don't just, fall in there willy-nilly. I think it's really important to, at every stage, look at how do I up level my education around these things. And there's so much out there to be able to free information. Yeah. That there is no excuse not to be constantly learning.
No, I think it's a beautiful tool, and especially if you learn how to use it, professionally, is really important. Yeah, and it's exciting as well. It's really exciting, Also, okay, well, let's talk a little bit about self-care for the CEO. What does the CEO do? Okay, balancing work and your personal life, and it's tricky sometimes.
Oh, it absolutely is. I do try and bookend my day. So as I said, I am, for the most part, up early and getting that first walk in. And I've been most days I'll get to bookend it with another walk in the evening time, just to be able to kind of bookend. And it's an opportunity for me to be able to just decompress, think out my thoughts and all the rest kind of thing. It creates that little bit of a barrier. But we're a global company, so there are just times when my first call this morning was 6:30, and there'll be other times where I might have a call of a 9 o'clock of an evening time. What I will generally then try to do is just balance it out, and balance is relative for people. I am blessed that I absolutely love what I do, so I look at it like a hobby as well. So not everyone can say that, but I am actually really blessed that I do love what I do. But I also am really blessed that I'm a mum and grandmother now. So, we've got these beautiful little humans that are like meditation for me. So, when I am with them, the phone is away and I am just present. And it's just a beautiful opportunity to being grandmother. There's nothing like it. and that because you are older, you're wiser, and you realize too, you don't have the time over. So, it is really, really important. So that's a really beautiful thing for me as well. And then I put in other things so this afternoon, later on this afternoon, I have a massage booked in. And I'm at the chiropractor every month. I go to the chiropractor every month, so I put in those other things that are, I'm getting older, and I go, I want to be, I'm planning on living to 102. I told my grandmother I'd beat her. And I want to be sliding into that grave going, yeah, what a life. And so to do that, I need to make sure that I am looking after my health and well-being. So chiropractor every month, massage, those types of things as well. Walking, whatever that exercise looks like as well. Of course, taking my water, all those things.
Yeah, I love it. Putting it all into your life, right? That's really great. So, one question I love to ask is the one piece of advice you would give entrepreneurs today. Is that this one piece of advice? What would you share?
Look, I had a quote that was used to sit on the front of my diary for years, or I would just move it each year, and that at the very beginning. And that quote was, "If it is to be, it is up to me." I want to kind of expand on it a little bit, because it is true. At the end of the day, you can have all of the resources, you can have all of the tools, you can have all of the mentors, you can have everything. Knowledge is not power. It's the implementation of knowledge that actually is power. So I can have all of these things and that, but unless I take action, then honestly, it doesn't matter. It means nothing. And so I still always kind of come back to that. I do expand it a little bit now, though, too, is because I also want to do, if it is to be, it is up to me, but get great wisdom first. So I want to make sure that I'm also then making it so that it's not so much that it's egotistically about it's up to me, but that it is done with wisdom. Mm-hmm. So yes, at the end of the day, even as the CEO, the decision stops here. I've got to make the decision kind of thing. However, I need to make sure that I've had wise counsel first.
Right.
So even as a new person starting, you've got all the tools, you've got all the skills and all the rest kind of thing. And it is up to me. You got to put up that post. Yeah. You got to reach out and you got to do that follow-up. No one's going to do it for you.
Right.
In the situations where you do need to, you get wise counsel. You just make sure that we're leaning in there as well. So I still come back to that. It's the one that literally stuck on the front of my diary from early on. I think it's important. I just added that extra bit now.
Great advice for all entrepreneurs, for sure. No, we never really touched on, and I usually do this, I just thought about it. Any challenges that, people are for you or for people in the field? What do you think of the biggest challenges and how they're overcoming them today?
What I'm going to say to you is challenge is just part of the journey. Yeah, that's the first thing I think people need to remember. There is always going to be some challenge. There is going to be that, my upline doesn't reply to me, or nobody in my team is doing anything, or, oh my gosh, the IT system is not working, or, oh no, they're in back order of my favorite product, or right, the economy is tanking, or somebody's going to, honestly,
the sky is falling, right?
The sky is falling. There are always going to be challenges with them that actually it will determine the person that we are. And that comes back to character and how we want to show up. So I have challenges on a daily basis. And some of those are personal, some of those are professional. But it's again looking at, I always come at things from the mindset of what can I control or what can't I control?
Right.
What I can't control, I park and go, okay. And sometimes I'll just say, all right, God, that's in your hands. No, what? To be honest, we've got some IT challenges at the moment. We're going through a digital transformation. And time you hear the word transformation, there's work behind. So, we're going through that kind of thing. And there are some things that I've got no control over. I'm no good at an IT space. Well, I can give my suggestions about what I would like it to look like. At the end of the day, that's somebody else's monkey. So I'm not going to have that monkey. Yeah. But then what I'm saying is, okay, now what can I control? What are the things that I can actually do in this moment, in this week, whatever it might be? And then I get about doing those. Mm-hmm. Because if I just allow every challenge to stop me in my tracks, I wouldn't be sitting where I am today.
Yeah. No,
I wouldn't have a business. Yeah. Like even in the field, back, when I think about it, 2 children under 2, shift working husband, family on the other side of the world, kind of thing.
Right.
And you do. If I worried about the challenges I had, I never would have made the phone calls. I never would have probably even recommitted to my business, given it the second yes and went, okay, I'm all in. Because it all seemed too hard. Yeah. So when challenges come up, absolutely acknowledge them. They're there. And then ask yourself the question, what in this can I control and what is out of my control? Park that and over and go, all right, now I'm going to take at least one step forward into what I've actually got control over.
Fabulous advice. I hope that people are watching this are really taking that on, because it is fantastic advice for any kind of challenges that come up, right? Mm-hmm. So now you help others to create an impact. That's what you do as a CEO of Juice Plus, and you have a podcast.
I do.
Tell us a little bit about the podcast. Tell us about your company. Share with us a little bit more about Juice Plus and where people can connect with you to learn more.
Absolutely. Well, one of the things from a personal perspective is about creating impact in whatever way that I can. And so we have flowed that through into, our company as well, from a global perspective, but especially for Australia and New Zealand about what we do. So impact can come in any number of ways, but, for Juice Plus, we're about inspiring healthy living and helping as many people as possible to realize their dreams through this amazing business model. So for us, the flow and effect of that, though, then is what other impacts? So from a health perspective, making an impact, from a wealth perspective, making an impact through the business model. But then also what's really super important is about giving back. Okay, we've got to keep the wheels of just that beautiful gratitude of, gratitude for being healthy, gratitude for the opportunity to be wealthy, and gratitude to be able to make a difference in somebody else's lives as well. So impact is important in multiple ways. I don't want it, never want it to be just about a word. Oh, yes, we make an impact to this or whatever. No, let's do our impact always through action. So every single month, each quarter, they get to nominate the charity of the month as well. So we look at how we can help small charities be able to make a difference. We help through community giving then as well. So, you could have a little kid who really would love to be able to go and represent their state, but their parents just don't have the money. So we give out little Healthy Start grants and things like that. So for us, it's really important. And as a family, we've always been about that. Contributions and experiences being what we're about. So I started a podcast called Adding the Impact. And I get to talk to beautiful people like yourself, who are making a difference in whatever it might be. And, there's a lot of them that are in direct sales. There are a lot of them that are not in direct sales. So it's about how are they adding the impact so that we make this world a better place? Because at the end of the day, it's actually what we need. We hear about the wars, we hear about tariffs, we hear about economic problems, all of those things, and they can seem so big to us that we kind of go, how can I make an impact in that? How can I do that? But actually, you can make an impact with where you walk, where you live, what you do. And so it's about showcasing people who have great value to add in their level, their area of expertise. But then also are people that I deliberately kind of choose that I know have a heart for giving back to a professional like yourself, for example, or to certain groups of people or whatever it might be. So if every single one of us was to think about how we could change and add impact where we stand, the world would be a much better place.
Better place. I totally agree. Yes. So we will put all the information in the description below this video. So it's just been a delight to catch up with you again after all these years. And
it has, Gale, it has. It's been really, really lovely. And please, if you've got questions or you want to expand on something that we talked about, don't hesitate to reach out to me. As Gale said, she'll have all of my contact details down there. Only too happy to add value where I can.
Thanks so much, Celine.
Well, you're gorgeous. Thank you. God bless.
Wow, wasn't that such an inspiring conversation with Celine? One of the big takeaways I hope really sits with you is this. In the digital world, success depends on having systems to educate people about your business without making all those outrageous claims. There is so much wisdom in that. And how about her daily high five system? A simple yet powerful method where she created a grid with 30 squares and how she tracked those reach outs, invitations, and follow-ups. Not fancy, but it is consistent. And as she reminds us, consistency is everything, right? And she also left us with a question worth reflecting on. What am I doing to grow myself personally and professionally? Well, when was the last time you asked yourself that question? I want you to drop your answer in the comments because I'd genuinely love to hear what you're doing to invest in yourself. And don't forget her empowering mindset, handling challenges, focus on what you can control, let go of what you can't, and then just take one step, one action forward. Pretty amazing advice. Celine is a true entrepreneur, and she is focused on equipping others with the tools, confidence, and community they need to succeed as a CEO of a direct selling company. So make sure you check out her episodes on her Impact podcast and connect with her. So all of that information is in the description below. And as Celine says, just keep showing up and being your best self. And I'll see you in the next video.